So as you can see, interface has already been added to the wrong face, and the dart has already been made facing the slant curve. We'll go straight to the marking of the back pocket to be made, and you'll be taking 4 inches downward, 2 inches from the side. So the cross sign formed will give us the beginning point of the back pocket. Also be taking 4 inches downwards. Then I'll be taking the width of the pocket. I'll go straight to the making process of the pocket. We'll be using this green piece as the pocket material that will be placed at the back. So we'll be placing the green piece in a way that it will extend beyond both marked points by at least 1 inch. Now I'll be placing the 2 pieces we'll be using for the back pocket making process itself at opposite ends. So after placing both, we'll make a sewing of 1/4 inch on both sides. So after making a sewing of 1/4 inch on both sides, we'll be leaving a gap at the middle. That gap will be where our strap will be situated, the strap that would lock the button. Then we'll be making a notch at the middle. After making the notch, we'll be using the notch to make the arrowhead notch, which will be notching to form an arrowhead by cutting on both sides and making sure your scissors is not cutting any part of the thread or the seam line. So after doing that on one part, you do it on the other part as well. This is a process you don't have to rush. You have to be very careful when doing this, because this can just jeopardize the whole making process of the double welt back pocket. So this is what we got. You can see the arrowhead on both sides. Straight to the making process, you'll be bending 1/4 inch on opposite sides. So after bending 1/4 inch, you fold whatever is left inwards totally. But the first thing we do is to bend a 1/4 inch. We'll be bending this 1/4 inch on both pieces. So after bending, we'll fold what's left inwards totally. So as you can see, we've succeeded in bending the 1/4 inch part of the top. And the next thing we'll be doing will be to sew it down inwards. From what you are seeing now, we'll just sew it down, but when sewing, you'll be minding the gap. We've already sewn it inwards, so you can see I mind the space in between to make sure our strap can be able to penetrate through. I stop there, continued from that part, and finish off just like that. So the top piece has been bended. The next will be to bend the down piece. We'll bend the down piece too by a 1/4 inch. Mind you, I'm kind of used to it, that's why you don't see me bending using a tape rule. If you're doing yours and you're not sure, you can always use a tape rule. But from the look of things, you can always see if one part is a little bit bigger, though it's almost impossible to get it all perfectly done. But you can always make sure to try your possible best to make it as perfect as possible. The most important thing is making sure it looks good. It looks good, it looks neat, and you get exactly what you want. So for a while, I'll be using my 5 or my 10 fingers on both hands to do basically what I call arrangement, just trying to make sure everything is done. Then I'll sew the down part So as you can see, the gap in between is still there. So I've succeeded in folding both and sewing it down on opposite end, then it will remain sewing down the arrowhead. So while sewing the arrowhead, you must make sure the up and the down pieces are bended towards the opposite direction of each side. Then you sew the arrowhead down like that. You make sure both opposite pieces are bended towards the opposite side too, and you sew the arrowhead on the other side downwards too. So as you can see, I'm trying to arrange it very well and sew it. Now in double welt sewing of pockets, the lines are always straight down. There's nothing like slant, unless you are maybe making for a suit or a waistcoat. For trousers, it's just preferable you just sew it down. So as you can see, everything is already looking good. Next thing will be to fold the down piece and sew it on the pocket material separately. So after sewing it on the pocket material separately, so I use the green thread, because everything I'll be doing now, I'll be trying to make sure I don't get odd colors, because everything I'll be sewing now will be what we show on the pocket itself. So I'll be trimming off excesses, and all the excesses I'll be trimming off would be before the sewing line of the arrowhead. So before that sewing line of the arrowhead position, every other thing there is more or less excess. That's what I'll be cutting off. I'll be bending the pocket to a desired depth. You can choose how deep you want your pocket to be bended, and use a pressing iron to finish it off, because some people actually don't like their pockets being too deep, especially short people. They feel like when they put their hands inside their pocket, it feels like it is touching their feet. So you fold inwards like that. After folding inwards, you sew both pieces separately. Then when you get to where the up and the down part meet, you bend. After getting to where the up and the down part meet, you bend the remaining part inwards like that. So you bend it excessively inwards, which you can see we are doing at the moment. So after bending and sewing, that is what we got. We'll be going straight to the other part. Before we do the other part, you must make sure you sew the upper piece to the upper part of the pocket. So in doing that, I'll be showing you how to do that. You just turn it the other way around like that. But before you do that, you first of all make sure you bended the other piece. So before anything, you must make sure you bend it. So as you can see, I'll bend it first. So after bending it, I will now sew it on the upper part of the green pocket material. So after bending it, I'll just arrange it like that inside the sewing machine, start my stitches from there, and just keep going inwards, keep going inwards, keep going inwards till I make sure I get every part of that other piece I used in making the back pocket. That's what we got. As you can see, it is firmly held or firmly sewn to it. So after sewing, that's what we got. So you can see my hands is no longer picking anything inside when I put it through. So both parts are attached to the opposite part of the green pocket material. So the next thing we'll be doing will simply be to just bend the other part of the pocket material exactly the way we did on the former. We'll just bend and sew. So just take your time to bend. When you get to the part where the upper part and the lower part ends, when their meeting point ends, you bend the remaining part excessively inwards. And the bending of that upper part excessively inward is because of your waistband. You don't want your waistband to be meeting your pocket when you are joining it. So after doing that, just like we did for the former, you just sew separately. Use your green thread to sew on it like that from the beginning straight to the end. As you can see, we've gotten both parts. So if you have your pressing iron, you can press and just make the work look or feel good to you. So the next thing we'll be doing will be to prepare our strap. The strap we'll be using, you just cut a piece of material like that, let's say 1 inch, 1.5 inch, depending on how wide you want your strap to be. After folding, you fold both sides 1/2 inch, then you fold ultimately the two of them together again, and you sew on the edge all through like that. Easy peasy, you get your strap. So after getting your strap, all you just do is fold both together like that, so it can easily penetrate into the gap you created earlier on, and you just insert it into the gap. So on inserting it into the gap, there's always an allowance for you to hold it down, so you just have to arrange it as deep as you want it to be, because that arrangement will determine where the position of the button will be. Then that gap you close. When you eventually close that gap, you've also held the strap down, then you sewed it up, and we fix your button, and that is what we got. So like I said, just depending on how careful you are when you're making yours, it can be more perfect than this. Trim the excesses of your pocket, and voila, you succeeded in making your double welt back pocket for your shorts. Thank you for watching.